Raw took place tonight in Birmingham, England, and you started the show off with Roman Reigns, who was very over, to say the least, in front of this crowd. They sang Roman Reigns when he first came out, and everything he did, they reacted to. They chanted OTC, and then they did a song where they sang a song which was "If You Love Roman, Stand Up," which is a play on the Money in the Bank chant from London a couple years ago, in which they chanted, "If you hate Roman, stand up." That's when he was still a heel. Now we get, "If you love Roman, stand up." They absolutely loved Roman Reigns, to say the least. Eventually, Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed interrupted Roman. There were "shut the fuck up" chants at Paul Heyman, and then there was chants at Bronson Reed. Bronson says he's really dangerous, and he implies that he's this dangerous Samoan, and his family was exiled to Australia. I thought they came from Australia to like Northern California, where Roman's families, which were mostly settled. But I guess, I don't know. I thought Bronson Reed here was okay. And then Roman is saying if he's even Samoan. I guess Roman doesn't know if Bronson Reed is Samoan, and I never even knew he was Samoan until like last year. Eventually they brawl. Security tries to separate them. They keep brawling until we go to break. That sets up their match at a Clash in Paris this Sunday. Judgment Day was backstage. Dirty Dom's talking to El Grande Americano, and right when they show Dom on the screen, fans start chanting "Dirty, Dirty Dom." They're really into him. Dragon Lee was against JD McDonough next. Dragon Lee got the win. He got no reaction, didn't care about this. Jackie Redmond was wearing a polka dot dress. It was a polka dot dress with her hair down. I don't know if she's looking for a particular look from... Is it supposed to be an English look? I'm not sure. It seemed like it was something you would see a woman wear in England. I don't know what kind of style she was looking for, but it did seem very familiar to the territory in England. But she interviews LA Knight. He talks about CM Punk, and then he talks about Rollins and Paul Heyman. Penta was out next. And then we get the billionth Rusev video promo. I mean, how many times have I seen Rusev talk in this low mellow-tone voice about how he's a destroyer and how he was down and how he came out of the abyss or something? It's just done to promote his match at Sheamus. It's just, since he came back right after WrestleMania, I feel like I've seen a million of these fucking video promos. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez are backstage, and then Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio walk in with JD, who lost to Dragon Lee, and Dom and Finn are arguing. And eventually, Finn is set up to face AJ Styles later in the night. Penta against Kofi Kingston. Kofi got the surprise win. Why? I don't know. Kofi absolutely sucks. New Day sucks. Kofi shouldn't be beating anybody. He should be gone, man. He's done. I think Xavier Woods is okay, but I think Kofi's just done, man. He's so washed, and he never had any personality, never had any charisma in New Day. I thought Xavier and Big E were always much more entertaining than Kofi ever was. Big E more entertaining, and for sure him. And you know, Xavier did do stuff. He was he played the trombone, and he was entertaining in his own way. It's just with Kofi, he was always the best one probably in the ring, but I mean, I think that's the biggest issue with this heel turn. Kofi's fucking horrible. Xavier's trying to do stuff. Kofi's awful. They should just had Xavier turn on his own, and he gets the win over Penta after interference from Big G. New Day sucks. I guess Rey Fenix is coming to Raw soon to team with his brother. Michael Cole and Corey Graves promoted WWE Unreal. They play a clip of Cody Rhodes. I guess Season 2 is coming up. They really want you to watch this documentary. Backstage, Io Sky walks up to Rhea Ripley and thanks her for having her back last week. And then she says that her and Rhea need to keep their distance and go their own separate ways because Asuka and Kairi Sane are upset. And they're her sisters, and Asuka and Kairi are watching in the distance, and they agreed to keep their distance, and the two of them hug, surprisingly. They play a Naomi video package from last week, and when she announces her pregnancy, backstage, Adam Pearce informs Stephanie Vaquer that she will not compete at Clash in Paris, but she's still the number one contender, and he's announcing a new opponent next week. he has one lined up for her, and Stephanie tells Adam Pearce that she understands. We've barely seen her in so long. It feels like this was set up. I don't think she was ever going to beat Naomi anyway at Clash in Paris. She was probably going to lose, but I don't know what she's going to do, who she's going to face. I guess it's Io Sky that makes the most sense, but maybe after tonight you think it's Rhea. It could be a triple threat. I'm not sure. Becky Lynch is out next, and she gets booed. She calls Birmingham a dump. Nikki Bella interrupts her. She calls Becky Lynch a little bitch. No one really cares about this. Nikki calls Charlotte Nikki Bella called Becky Lynch Charlotte's little sidekick when she first came up, and I'm thinking, and she's talking about how Becky was this scared little girl. I'm thinking to myself, this is so long ago, no one even remembers. And there's a lot of new WWE fans. They've really built in a new fan base. A lot of them don't even remember, pre-man Becky Lynch before she became the man in like 2018. They don't remember the goggles and the steam and the old Becky Lynch with she would have the long, crazy red hair. That's how she'd always have it before she had the straight hair. And, they don't remember that version of Becky before the man. So, I mean, why is she even bringing this up and how she's a scared little girl and the Bellas weren't? I don't get why she has to keep using this, especially as a babyface. I just don't really like it, to be honest. And saying now she was Charlotte's sidekick. I mean, she was feuding with Charlotte for most of her run. She was like part of that PCB group with Paige and Charlotte. But I don't really remember her being Charlotte's sidekick. Becky cuts a promo on Britain for booing her. She's mad at them because they oppressed the Irish for 800 years. That was a nice touch, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's supposed to get heat in Britain or in England, particularly. And then Nikki says Becky is a champion, but she's also a C word, and Becky sells it like it's the 4-letter C word, the C-U-N-T, but instead Nikki was saying coward. I thought Becky came off really entertaining here. She's overselling it and making the segment more entertaining. Becky says the only good thing about Birmingham died a month ago. Of course, she's referencing Ozzy Osbourne, who died last month, a few days before Hulk Hogan died. And Becky is putting down Birmingham, saying that Ozzy moved to Los Angeles. And she says, if I was from Birmingham, I would die too. I think she's definitely right about Birmingham being a dump from pictures I've seen. But eventually just sets up a match at Clash in Paris this Sunday. Nikki and Becky brawl. Nikki picks her up for the rack attack, but Becky gets away and retreats. And that sets up the Women's Intercontinental Championship match this Sunday. Becky Lynch defends against Nikki Bella. Becky's defended her IC belt, it seems like, on every single PLE. Jackie Redmond interviewed CM Punk backstage. He responds to what LA Knight said about him earlier in the show. Rhea Ripley's out next to a big pop. Aussies always seem to be very popular in the UK. We get a Sheamus video promo before the match against Rusev. Actually, going back to that previous one, I guess, from Australians, I think most of the people who went to Australia in the beginning to develop it were British people, so I guess that actually makes sense. But yeah, it always seems like Australians, and Rhea Ripley's popular wherever. It really doesn't make much sense. Everyone loves Rhea Ripley. I mean, she is just super over everywhere she goes. And she was also performing in the NXT UK brand, so I guess there's more over. She's over for that. And the reason I'm saying how over Rhea was in the UK is because they were really hostile to her opponent tonight, and I'll get to that later. We got, I said after the Sheamus video package, we get Rhea Ripley and Roxanne Perez. So they hated Roxanne here. They were calling her a shit Liv Morgan. I don't even know the whole chant, but they're calling her, a poor woman's Liv Morgan, for instance. That's what they're saying to her, a shit Liv Morgan. And they really don't like Roxanne. They absolutely love Rhea here. But the two of them just have really good chemistry. Raquel Rodriguez obviously was interfering. Eventually, Rhea Ripley wins with the Riptide. After the match, Raquel Rodriguez attacks Rhea Ripley after a match. Io Sky made the save. The two of them embrace. Rhea and Io do. And I was thinking to myself, okay, the only reason why Roxanne beat Io last week was it was set up for Naomi to win, and Roxanne just got the spot because they probably view her as like the second top heel. And she wouldn't have just beaten Io without, she was probably, if she was going to beat Io and that was a long-term plan, she would have gone a long-term push. I don't think she would have just been pinned cleanly here on Raw tonight. I think it was clearly set up for her, for Naomi just to pin Io. That whole match was just going to be Naomi. Roxanne just got the spot last week. Backstage, Seth Rollins with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker hyping them up. Braun faces LA Knight tonight, and then tonight, well, I mean tonight, it was actually technically today from where I'm at. Well, Bronson Reed faces Roman Reigns at Clash in Paris. AJ Styles is out next. Backstage, Io Sky and Rhea Ripley embrace. They're hugging. It's weird. It's almost like this pseudo erotic lesbian angle they're trying to set up between the two of them because they look so close and it's just awkward. But then Io's really close to Rhea, and then after Rhea leaves, Asuka comes in and just starts yelling at poor Io Sky for talking to Rhea Ripley. How dare her talk to Rhea Ripley? I guess Asuka only wants Io Sky to have Japanese friends. I'm not sure what her point is because Rhea's been nothing but nice to Io. And like, what did she ever do to Asuka? Oh, I get it. She beat her at WrestleMania a few years ago. Asuka's still better because, like, why is she so against Io talking to Rhea? And she's yelling at Io Sky, and Io yells back, and then Kairi Sane is split. She says she's so sorry to Io. I don't get this. I think Kairi Sane was just overacting here, but Asuka is really mad at Io because she's friends with Rhea Ripley. AJ Styles against Finn Balor. Man, a few years ago, this match would have been awesome. They had this incredible match one time, like 8 years ago, out of No Mercy. Here, it's just not really much of a match. AJ just wins. Nothing much here. Jey Uso's back to with Roman Reigns, and Roman is telling him not to trust Punk, and he's really hyping him up, and it played into what happened later in the show because Jey Uso ends up taking Roman Reigns' advice. We get a Bayley video package. I don't care. Laura Valkyria talks Adam Pearce. She's concerned with Bayley. Lyra's doing nothing since SummerSlam, man. It seems like they have nothing for her. Then Dominic Mysterio, along with Finn Balor and JD McDonough, goes up to Adam Pearce and complains about AJ Styles. Pearce then makes Intercontinental Championship match next week on Raw, which is in Paris. So it's Dirty Dom defending the IC title against AJ Styles 1 week from today. Raw in Paris. I think we might see a title change on that show. Makes sense why Dom kept the belt for SummerSlam. They might want to do the title change on Raw to make it more impactful. And it makes sense. AJ Styles is super over in Paris or super over in France. Remember last year how crazy they were for him on the Backlash show. So I'm sure they're going to be crazy for AJ. And it makes sense to actually do the title change there. And that's set up. And then you had Roman Reigns attacks the Vision backstage as they were set to make their entrance. This was before the main event. LA Knight then jumps in and jumps Braun Breaker for the match. We get the main event, Braun Breaker, LA Knight. Seth Rollins interferes, causing Braun Breaker to win the match. They beat down LA Knight. Jey Uso comes out, makes the save. Then they eventually beat down Jey. It's 3-on-1 again. And then CM Punk makes the save. He gets a massive pop. The fans sing Cult of Personality, his theme song. He fights them off, and the faces are in the ring. But then they turn against each other again. Eventually, they're brawling. Jey hits LA Knight with a super kick by accident. And then Jey hits a super kick on CM Punk, taking him out. And Jey stands tall. The announcers say he took Roman's advice, and that's how Raw ended. And that was our go-home show to Clash in Paris, which is this Sunday in Paris, France. But from this night's Raw in Birmingham, England, I thought it was mostly a boring show. I'm sure, it's what you usually get in these international shows in a smaller city. I mean, in London, they would do a much bigger show than they did tonight. But Birmingham, it's not the capital, and when it's not the capital in the European country, don't expect, a big-time show. And this was just more of a filler international type of show. It wasn't awful. It was boring. At the first hour or so after the Roman segment, we got those two, house show tier level matches. You get Kofi Kingston against Penta, and then you get, before that, I think you had Dragon Lee and JD McDonough. I mean, come on, that's a main event match. Dragon Lee against JD, that's a main event match. that's not good. But I thought as the show went on, the last segment was fine. The opening segment was good. The Becky segment I thought was pretty good. So there was enough on the show to make it watchable. And that was Raw tonight. And we'll see what happens next as they continue the European tour on the road to Clash in Paris.